The world shattered in a single sentence. Jason Clark thought his life was a postcard-perfect American dream, until a teacher's casual remark ripped it apart. "Sophie's so happy when her mom's new boyfriend picks her up," Ms. Henderson said, and just like that, the ground beneath Jason's feet turned to quicksand. Seattle's Madison Park glowed under the soft September light, its tree-lined streets and manicured lawns whispering suburban perfection. Jason, a 38-year-old architect with sharp green eyes and a quiet intensity, sat in the cramped teacher's lounge of Sophie's elementary school. The air smelled of burnt coffee and dry erase markers, the kind of place where parents nodded politely and pretended field trips were the pinnacle of their worries. His daughter, 8-year-old Sophie, was the star of the evening, her artwork, a parade of cats in bow ties and pirate hats, spread across the table like a child's manifesto of joy. Jason flipped through her sketches, a proud smile tugging at his lips. Sophie was his anchor, the one constant in a life he'd built brick by brick. Miss Henderson, a wiry woman with glasses perpetually sliding down her nose, leaned over, her voice warm but oblivious. "It's wonderful how involved you both are. Sophie's mom's boyfriend picks her up almost every day now. Such a sweet guy." The words landed like a grenade, pin pulled, rolling silently across the table. Jason's hand froze mid-page, the crayon sketch of a three-legged cat blurring in his vision. Boyfriend? His wife, Emily, didn't have a boyfriend. At least not that he knew. Not when she kissed him goodbye that morning, her lips brushing his cheek with the same routine affection they'd shared for a decade. Not when she texted him about late-night marketing meetings or weekend client retreats. His pulse thumped in his ears, louder than the hum of the fluorescent lights overhead. He forced a nod, a chuckle even, his face a mask of practiced calm. "Yeah, she's lucky to have so many people looking out for her," he said, the words tasting like ash. Inside, though, something cold and sharp clicked into place, like a lock snapping shut. Emily, his partner of 12 years, the woman who laughed at his terrible puns and cried during their vow renewal, was hiding something. Something big. Something that could unravel the life they'd built. Their cozy craftsman home, their Sunday pancake mornings, their daughter's innocent giggles echoing through the backyard. The drive home was a haze. Sophie hummed a pop song in the back seat, her legs swinging, her purple folder of star-stamped drawings clutched tight. Jason glanced at her in the rearview mirror, her chestnut curls bouncing, her world untouched by the storm brewing in his chest. He gripped the steering wheel, knuckles white, the Seattle skyline fading behind them as they wound through Madison Park's quiet streets. Every red light felt like a pause in a chess game he hadn't realized he was playing. Emily's excuses replayed in his mind like a broken record. "Work's insane, babe. Just a late meeting. You're overthinking it." Was he? Or was he finally seeing the board clearly? At home, he played the part of dad flawlessly. He helped Sophie out of the car, carried her backpack, asked about her favorite sketch, the pirate cat, naturally. "He's got a sword, Daddy, but he's nice," she said, her eyes bright. Jason smiled, ruffled her hair, and sent her to wash up for dinner. But as he stood in the kitchen, the weight of Ms. Henderson's words pressed harder. Emily wasn't home yet. "Another client dinner," she texted. The house felt too quiet, the hum of the fridge mocking his unease. He poured a glass of water, the cold rim grounding him as he stared at Emily's purse on the counter. Tan leather, monogrammed, a gift he'd given her 2 years ago for her 35th birthday. Sat there, unzipped, daring him to look. His fingers twitched. This wasn't him. He wasn't the guy who snooped, who doubted. But the teacher's words gnawed like termites, and he couldn't ignore them. Not anymore. He set the glass down, the clink loud in the silent kitchen, and reached for the purse. His hands moved with a surgeon's precision, peeling back the layers. Wallet, lipstick, a half-empty pack of mints. Then, buried beneath a tangle of receipts, something else. A slim, scratched phone, not the sleek iPhone Emily flaunted. His stomach twisted. He pressed the power button, and the screen glowed, no password, as if it wanted to be found. A single message stared back at him, from someone named Nick. Can't wait for tonight, princess. He won't suspect a thing. Jason's breath caught, the words searing into his mind. He scrolled, each text a blade. We'll sell the house, start fresh. Sophie's gonna love me as her new dad. A photo loaded. A selfie of Emily and a tanned, muscled guy in their kitchen, laughing, his arm around her waist. Another showed him holding Sophie's hand in the school parking lot, captioned, New Daddy in Training. The room spun. Jason gripped the counter, his vision narrowing to the phone's dim glow. Emily wasn't just cheating. She was planning to erase him, to rewrite their family with this stranger. Nick. The name tasted like bile. He forced himself to breathe, to think. Confronting her would be easy, messy, useless. Screaming wouldn't protect Sophie, wouldn't save their life. He needed control, not chaos. He snapped photos of the messages, his hands steady despite the fire in his veins. Then he slid the phone back, exactly as he'd found it, and closed the purse. Upstairs, Emily's shower hummed, steam curling under the bathroom door as she sang a pop tune. Oblivious. She stepped out later, wrapped in a towel, her blonde hair damp, her smile as bright as ever. Hey, babe, can you set the alarm? I'm beat, she said, dropping a kiss on his forehead. Jason nodded, his voice calm. Sure, honey. But as she turned away, his eyes hardened. She thought she was playing him, thought she held all the cards. She didn't know she'd just woken a sleeping giant. And Jason Clark wasn't the type to lose quietly. Betrayal has a sound. It's the soft buzz of a hidden phone, the hum of a lie so loud it drowns out a decade of trust. For Jason Clark, it was the moment he realized Emily wasn't just breaking his heart. She was plotting to steal his life. The Seattle night pressed against the windows of their Madison Park home, the quiet broken only by the distant hum of a neighbor's sprinkler. Jason sat in the dimly lit kitchen, the glow of his laptop casting shadows across his face. The photos he'd taken of Emily's secret phone burned in his mind, each one a jagged piece of a puzzle he hadn't wanted to solve. Nick's smug grin, his arm around Emily in their kitchen, the caption about being Sophie's new daddy. It wasn't just infidelity. It was a declaration of war. And Jason wasn't about to surrender. He opened a private browser, his fingers moving with the precision of the architect he was. No tears, no rage, just cold, surgical focus. He typed Marcus Vale, private investigator, into the search bar. Marcus was an ex-cop, a contact from a business dispute years ago, the kind of man who could tail a ghost through a storm and come back with a signed confession. Jason sent a curt email. Need your services. Discreet. Urgent. Then he dialed Lisa Carter, a forensic accountant with a reputation for sniffing out fraud like a bloodhound. Lisa, it's Jason Clark. I need you to trace some money. Off the books for now. Her voice, crisp and no nonsense, crackled through the line. Send me what you've got. I'll find the dirt. By 2 a.m., Jason had cloned the burner phone's data using a trick he'd found on a tech forum. Nothing illegal, just a simple sync to a dummy inbox. Every text, every photo, every plan Emily and Nick thought was hidden now forwarded to him in real time. He scrolled through the latest messages, his jaw tight. Nick, babe, once you file, we're golden. Half his money's ours. Emily, he's clueless. By Christmas, we'll be in Miami. A photo followed. Nick, shirtless, flexing in a gym mirror, captioned, Your future king. Jason's stomach churned, but his mind stayed sharp. They weren't just cheating. They were calculating, mapping out a future built on his ruins. The next morning, Emily breezed into the kitchen. Her blonde hair swept into a ponytail, her marketing-perfect smile in place. Morning, babe, she said, pouring coffee like nothing had changed. Jason watched her, his face a mask of routine affection. "Morning. Sleep okay?" he asked, stirring oatmeal for Sophie, who was upstairs brushing her teeth. Emily nodded, her eyes flicking to her phone. The real one, not the burner. "Slept like a rock. Big day today, client pitch." Another lie, another brick in the wall she thought was invisible. Jason smiled, handed her a mug. "Knock 'em dead." She kissed his cheek, oblivious to the storm gathering behind his eyes. As soon as Emily left, Jason sprang into action. Marcus replied to his email, agreeing to meet at a diner near Lake Washington. The place smelled of grease and nostalgia, its vinyl booths cracked but private. Marcus, grizzled and sharp-eyed, slid into the seat across from Jason, a notepad in hand. "What's the job?" he asked, sipping black coffee. Jason slid a USB drive across the table, his voice low. "My wife. She's cheating. I need proof, dates, places, faces. And anything on a guy named Nick, probably a gym rat." Marcus raised an eyebrow but didn't pry. "Timeline? Fast," Jason said. "She's planning something big." Marcus pocketed the drive. "You'll have what you need in a week." Lisa was already working, her first email landing in Jason's inbox by noon. Preliminary findings. $5,000 transferred from your joint account to an LLC called Peak Pulse Fitness. No services rendered. More to come. Jason's blood ran cold. Peak Pulse Fitness, Nick's business. No doubt. Emily wasn't just giving him her heart. She was funneling their money, their future, into his hands. He forwarded the email to Marcus, adding, "Check this LLC. I want everything." Days blurred into a tense routine. Jason played the devoted husband and father, packing Sophie's lunches, braiding her hair, reading her bedtime stories about pirate cats. Sophie's laughter was his lifeline, her innocence a reminder of what he was fighting for. Meanwhile, Emily grew bolder, her lies sloppier. She left receipts for dinners she claimed were work, bought dresses on their joint card, sent Jason a text meant for Nick. "Miss you," stud face-blowing a kiss. She laughed it off. "Oops. Meant for my coworker Jenna." But Jason screenshot it, adding it to his growing arsenal. Marcus delivered by Friday. His report, emailed at 3 a.m., was a gut punch. Photos of Emily and Nick at the Fairmont Hotel, kissing in the lobby bar. Grainy footage of them slipping into a room, her hand on his back. A shot of Nick strutting out of Sophie's school, Sophie's tiny hand in his. The caption on that one, "Lil Princess loves me," made Jason's vision blur with rage. But he didn't break. He cataloged, dated, saved. Lisa's next report was worse. $120,000 siphoned from their accounts over 6 months, funneled into Nick's LLC for consulting fees. The LLC was a shell, no clients, no services, just a bank account for Nick's new car and condo dreams. Jason leaned back in his office chair, the Seattle skyline glittering beyond his window. He wasn't just fighting for his marriage anymore. He was fighting for Sophie, for their home, for the life he'd built. Emily thought she was a mastermind, Nick her knight in shining gym shorts. They didn't know Jason was already 3 moves ahead. He called his banker, Vincent, a Brit with a voice like polished oak. "Phase 1, Jason said. Move the liquid assets. Trust for Sophie, untouchable." Vincent didn't hesitate. "Done by 9 a.m. tomorrow. Your prior authorizations hold." That night, Emily came home late, her perfume unfamiliar, her smile too wide. She chattered about her pitch, but Jason barely listened. He passed her the salad, asked about her day, played the game she thought she was winning. But as she laughed, oblivious, he saw the truth. She wasn't his wife anymore. She was a thief and Nick was her accomplice. And Jason, he was the architect of their downfall, drafting a plan so precise it would leave them with nothing but the ashes of their own greed. Revenge isn't loud. It's the silent click of a chess piece sliding into checkmate. the moment your opponent realizes they've lost before the game ends. For Jason Clark, it was the quiet hum of a plan falling into place, each move designed to bury Emily and Nick under the weight of their own betrayal. The Seattle dawn painted Madison Park in soft grays, the kind of morning where fog clung to Lake Washington like a secret. Jason sat in his home office, a cup of black coffee cooling beside his laptop. The screen glowed with Marcus Vale's latest report. More photos of Emily and Nick, this time at a waterfront bistro, her hand resting on his knee, his smirk as loud as a billboard. Lisa Carter's email followed, her forensic audit a masterclass in precision. $148,000 drained from joint accounts, funneled into Nick's sham LLC, Peak Pulse Fitness. Car leases, condo deposits, even a Rolex Nick flaunted, bought with Jason's money. Every dollar was a nail, and Jason was building a coffin. He leaned back, the leather chair creaking under his weight. Emily thought she was clever, playing the devoted wife while siphoning their future. Nick thought he was untouchable, a Jim Bro king plotting to steal a family. They were wrong. Jason wasn't a victim. He was a strategist, and the board was his. He opened a secure file labeled contingency, a digital vault of bank accounts, passwords, and trust documents he'd set up 2 years ago after a business partner's betrayal taught him to plan for the worst. The trust, locked in Sophie's name, held $2.5 million in liquid assets. Untouchable by Emily, sealed by clauses tighter than a vault. He emailed Vincent, his banker, "Activate the trust. Full transfer by noon." Vincent's reply was instant. Confirmed. Funds secure by 11:59 a.m. Downstairs, Sophie twirled into the kitchen, her backpack bouncing. "Daddy, can we get pancakes today?" she asked, her hazel eyes bright. Jason's heart softened, but his resolve didn't waver. "After school, princess," he said, kneeling to tie her shoelaces. Emily swept in, her perfume sharp, her smile a polished lie. "Morning, you too," she said, grabbing a smoothie from the fridge. "Big meeting today, might be late." Jason nodded, his face a mirror of calm. "No problem. Handle your thing." She pecked his cheek, oblivious to the noose tightening around her plans. As Emily's BMW purred out of the driveway, Jason's phone pinged. Marcus had sent a new photo. Nick, in Jason's favorite armchair, feet propped on the coffee table, a beer in hand. The caption, "This house is gonna be ours soon." Jason's jaw clenched, but he didn't flinch. He forwarded the image to Marcus with a single line. "Keep digging." Then he called Lisa. "I need a paper trail. Every cent they've touched." Her voice was ice. "Already on it. You'll have a report by Friday." Emily's arrogance grew by the day. She stopped hiding her tracks, leaving credit card statements for $3,000 dinners, receipts for lingerie she never wore at home. One night, she texted Jason by mistake. "Can't wait to see you, stud." She followed with a laugh. "Oops. Meant for my assistant, Tara." Jason screenshot it, his fingers steady. He didn't confront her. Confrontation was for amateurs. He was compiling a case, each piece a brick in a wall that would crush her dreams. By midweek, Vincent confirmed the trust was active, $2.5 million safely beyond Emily's reach. Lisa's report landed next, a 20-page indictment of fraud, $62,000 in consulting fees to Nick's LLC, $31,000 in condo deposits, $15,000 in jewelry, all pre-divorce, all marital assets. The kicker? Texts recovered from Emily's cloud, time-stamped and damning. "Nick, file soon, babe. We'll clean him out." Emily, "He's too soft to fight. Half's mine by law." Jason printed the texts, his hands steady as he filed them in a locked drawer. Marcus's next delivery was a bombshell. A video clip, grainy but clear. Emily and Nick outside Sophie's school. Nick swinging Sophie's hand. Emily laughing. Sophie looked confused, her smile hesitant. The sight twisted a knife in Jason's chest. but it also lit a fire. They weren't just stealing his money, they were trying to steal his daughter. He saved the clip, labeled it Exhibit A, and emailed his attorney, Rachel Blake, a shark in a suit who thrived on cases like this. Rachel prepped for a counterclaim. Adultery, fraud, the works. I'll have evidence by next week. Her reply was succinct. Let's bury them. Emily's final mistake came on a rainy Thursday. She slid a manila envelope across the kitchen table, her face a mask of false pity. Jason, we need to talk, she said, her voice syrupy. This is for the best. Let's not drag it out. The divorce papers stared up at him, her signature bold, her demands obscene. Half the assets, alimony, shared custody. She thought she'd won, thought Jason was too broken to fight. He flipped through the pages, his expression neutral. You sure about this? He asked, sipping his coffee. Her smile widened, mistaking his calm for defeat. It's just formalities, Jason. We both deserve to be happy. He nodded, setting the papers down. Of course, let's do it right. Emily left for another client meeting, her heels clicking with victory. She didn't know she'd just handed Jason the final piece. The papers were proof of her intent, timed perfectly with his evidence. He called Rachel. She served me. File the counterclaim Monday. Full arsenal. Rachel's laugh was cold. They won't know what hit them. That night, Jason sat on the porch, the Seattle rain a soft drumbeat. Sophie slept upstairs, her pirate cat drawing taped to her door. Emily's burner phone, cloned and tracked, buzzed with a new message from Nick. We're so close, princess. Miami's waiting. Jason stared at the skyline, his coffee bitter but grounding. Emily thought she was the queen, Nick her knight. They didn't see the guillotine he'd built, blade gleaming, ready to drop. Checkmate was coming, and it wouldn't be subtle. Truth doesn't beg. It strikes like lightning, sudden and merciless, leaving only ashes where lies once stood. For Jason Clark, the courtroom was his thunder, and Emily and Nick were about to feel the burn. The Seattle courthouse loomed in the heart of downtown, its stone facade as unyielding as the justice it housed. Inside, the air was thick with the hum of anticipation, the shuffle of papers, and the faint squeak of polished shoes on marble. Jason sat in the plaintiff's chair, his gray suit crisp, his face a mask of quiet resolve. Across the room, Emily perched in a designer dress, its scarlet hue screaming confidence she didn't feel. Her French manicure gleamed under the fluorescent lights, but her fingers twitched, betraying the cracks in her facade. Nick slouched 2 rows back, his tailored suit a size too tight, his cocky grin replaced by a nervous tick. They thought they were players in a game they'd already won. They were wrong. The judge, Mr. O'Connor, a man with a voice like gravel and eyes that missed nothing, opened the session with a single question that cut through the room like a blade. Mrs. Clark, are you aware your actions compromised marital assets through extramarital financial misconduct? The words hung heavy, a guillotine blade poised to drop. Emily blinked, her smile freezing into something brittle. For a moment, she looked like a deer caught in headlights, her lips parting but no sound escaping. Her attorney, a young hotshot named Ethan Wells, leaned in, whispering frantically, his tie askew. Nick shifted in his seat, his bravado crumbling as the judge's gaze flicked toward him. Jason's attorney, Rachel Blake, stood, her presence commanding, her briefcase a vault of devastation. Your Honor, we present Exhibits 12 through 46, documenting adultery, fraud, and willful dissipation of marital assets. The clerk wheeled in a cart stacked with binders, Jason's binders, each page a meticulously crafted weapon. Photos of Emily and Nick at the Fairmont Hotel, lips locked in the lobby bar. Bank statements tracing $148,000 to Nick's Sham LLC, Peak Pulse Fitness. Text messages, recovered and time-stamped, projected on a screen for all to see. Nick, file soon, babe. We'll take everything. Emily, he's too weak to fight. Half's mine. The courtroom gasped, a collective intake of breath as the truth unfurled like a battle flag. Emily's face drained of color, her scarlet dress now a spotlight she couldn't escape. Nick sank lower, his hands gripping the bench as if it could anchor him. Ethan Wells stammered an objection. Lack of foundation. But O'Connor silenced him with a raised hand, his expression as cold as the Seattle rain outside. Rachel pressed forward, her voice steady. Exhibit 23, video evidence of the respondent and Mr. Benson at the minors' school, presenting Mr. Benson as a parental figure. The screen flickered, showing Nick swinging Sophie's hand, Emily laughing, Sophie's smile hesitant. Jason's chest tightened, but he kept his eyes on the judge, his resolve ironclad. O'Connor read aloud, his tone measured but damning. Case law supports sanctions for adultery and asset dissipation. The respondent's actions constitute a breach of fiduciary duty. He cited precedents, each word hammering another nail into Emily's crumbling empire. Her manicured nails dug into the table, one breaking with a faint snap. Nick's face was a mask of panic, his earlier wink to Emily now a distant memory. The judge flipped through the binders, pausing at a photo of Nick wearing a Rolex, Jason's anniversary gift to Emily. This, O'Connor said, is not merely infidelity. It's theft. Emily tried to speak, her voice trembling. Your Honor, we just grew apart. I never meant. Ethan cut her off, his whisper harsh, but it was too late. The judge's eyes narrowed. Mrs. Clark, your credibility is in question. He turned to the clerk. Incorporate the evidence. We'll proceed to rulings. Rachel slid another document across the table. A motion to dismiss Emily's financial claims. No alimony. No trust assets. Nothing. The grounds. Adultery. Fraud. Conspiracy. It was a legal sledgehammer, and Emily's dreams shattered under its weight. The verdict came like a tidal wave, sweeping away the last of Emily's illusions. The court finds Mrs. Clark guilty of willful dissipation of marital assets and adultery, O'Connor declared. Her claims to the respondent's protected trust are denied. Spousal support is revoked. Emily's mouth fell open, a silent scream trapped in her throat. The judge continued, his voice unrelenting. Temporary full custody of the minor child is awarded to Mr. Clark, pending review. The respondent's visitation will be supervised. Sophie, Jason's North Star, was safe for now. Then came the final blow. Mr. Benson is subpoenaed for conspiracy to defraud the marital estate. Noncompliance will result in contempt. Nick stood, his knees buckling, his face ashen. He opened his mouth, but no words came, just a choked gasp. The bailiff's stare pinned him back to his seat. Emily's eyes glistened, tears threatening to spill, but she held them back, clinging to the last shred of her pride. The courtroom fell silent, the weight of justice pressing down like a storm cloud. Jason gathered his folder, his movements deliberate, his cufflinks catching the light. He didn't gloat, didn't smirk. He didn't need to. The binders, the evidence, the truth, they'd done the talking. Emily and Nick sat frozen, their empire of lies reduced to rubble. The bailiff called the next case, and the world moved on, leaving them to choke on their defeat. Jason walked out, the Seattle skyline sharp against the horizon, his steps steady. He'd built a fortress for Sophie, and no one, not Emily, not Nick, would tear it down. Freedom tastes like rain on an open road. It's the laughter of a child who doesn't know the weight of yesterday's lies. For Jason Clark, it was the moment he and Sophie drove away from the wreckage. Seattle's skyline fading in the rearview. A new life waiting just beyond the horizon. 3 months had passed since the courtroom crushed Emily and Nick's illusions. The Seattle summer had given way to a crisp autumn, the leaves along Lake Washington blazing red and gold. Jason stood on the porch of their new home, a modest ranch-style house nestled in a quiet enclave near the lake. No marble countertops, No pretentious chandeliers. Just a wide backyard, a creaky swing set, and a creek that sang softly at dusk. Sophie, now 9, darted across the grass, chasing fireflies with a jar, her giggles echoing like a melody Jason hadn't heard in years. This was peace. This was home. The aftermath of the trial had been swift and brutal for Emily and Nick. Emily's prized BMW, once the centerpiece of her Instagram posts captioned "New Me, new ride," was repossessed in broad daylight. Neighbors peeked through blinds as the tow truck hauled it away, Emily standing barefoot on the curb, her cracked phone trembling in her hand. She didn't scream or beg, just stared, hollow-eyed, as her dream life vanished in under 10 minutes. Nick's collapse was even uglier. His condo deal imploded when his fraudulent LLC came under court scrutiny. The mortgage application denied, the real estate agent blacklisting him. His gym dropped him, his Instagram went silent, and his leased Lexus, the one he'd flaunted with hashtags like GrindPays, was next on the repo list. Their so-called friends, the influencers and hangers-on, scattered like roaches when the lights came on. No more rooftop brunches, no more clout. Just pity, the kind that stings worse than hate. Jason, meanwhile, rebuilt with surgical care. He enrolled Sophie in a new school, a small campus with a pond and teachers who knelt to meet her eyes. She thrived there, her drawings now featuring sunflowers and sailboats, her smile wider, her questions about why mommy's always gone fading. Jason returned to his architecture firm, designing eco-friendly homes that felt like a quiet rebellion against the excess Emily had chased. Saturday mornings became sacred. He and Sophie fished by the creek, their lines tangling, their laughter louder than the water's rush. "Daddy, you're terrible at this," she'd tease, holding up a tiny fish. He'd grin, ruffling her curls. "Takes practice, princess." Emily tried to claw her way back, of course. One rainy evening, Jason's phone lit up with a blocked number. Her voice, thin and trembling, crackled through. "Jason, please, can we talk? I messed up. I didn't mean for it to go this far." Her words were a broken record, each syllable dripping with desperation. Jason listened, not out of hope or anger, but curiosity, like a scientist studying a failed experiment. She rambled, about regret, about Nick's betrayal, about wanting to see Sophie. When she paused, gasping for air, he spoke, his voice steady. "You made your choice, Emily. The world showed you the cost." He hung up, blocked the number, and turned off the phone. No second chances, no oxygen for a fire that had already burned out. Nick's fate was a footnote. Subpoenaed for fraud, he dodged court dates until a bench warrant loomed. Whispers around Seattle painted him as a cautionary tale. A wannabe mogul who'd flown too close to the sun and crashed, broke and alone. His last Instagram post, months old, was a gym selfie with a caption that now read like irony. "Big things coming." Jason didn't care. Nick was a ghost, irrelevant. A shadow erased by the light of his and Sophie's new life. The house felt alive now, filled with small rituals. Sophie's drawings covered the fridge, her pirate cats joined by sketches of their creek adventures. Jason cooked dinners, lopsided pizzas, burnt cookies, Sophie cheering his efforts despite the smoke alarms. One evening, as they sat on the porch, fireflies blinking in the dusk, Sophie nestled against him, her voice soft. "Daddy, are we a team now? Just us." Jason's throat tightened, but his smile was sure. "Always, princess. The best team." She hugged him, her warmth a shield against the past. He thought of Emily sometimes, not with anger, but with a distant clarity. She worked at a coffee shop now, her designer dresses traded for an apron, her eyes dulled by the weight of her choices. She'd written once, a letter delivered to his office, begging for a meeting with Sophie. Jason read it, then filed it away unopened. Sophie would decide when she was older, but for now she deserved a childhood free of scars. Emily had chosen Nick, chosen greed, She'd lost the right to Sophie's light. As the sun dipped below the lake, painting the sky in hues of amber, Jason ordered ice cream from a drive-thru, Sophie's favorite, strawberry swirl with extra sprinkles. She picked Rocky Road for him, giggling at the name. "It's like our creek, Daddy. All bumpy and fun." They drove home, windows down, the radio playing low, the scent of autumn rain in the air. No secrets, no shadows, just a father and daughter building something real, brick by brick, laugh by laugh. The past was gone, burned away by truth. The future, it was theirs, and it shone brighter than any lie Emily and Nick could have dreamed.